1, 2, 3.
It is impossible to overemphasize the immense need humans have to be really listened to be taken seriously, to be understood. No one can develop freely in this world and find a full life without feeling understood by at least one person. According to skillsyouneed.com, listening is the ability to accurately receive and interpret messages in the communication process. Listening is key to all effective communication. Without the ability to listen effectively, messages are easily misunderstood. Effective listening is a skill that underpins all positive human relationships. Listen to the conversation of our world between nations as well as those between couples. They are, for the most part, dialogues of the deaf. If there is one area in our life that needs to be mastered, that would be listening. It is an area of weakness in our life, not actually a glaring weakness, but a subtle one. One that we can hide, but we are often expected to talk. We need to cultivate a discipline far more difficult than talking, and one that required an exceptional amount of skill. Listening. When we say listening, it doesn't mean just hearing. Not simply smiling and nodding while somebody's mouth is moving. Not merely staying quiet until it's your turn to say something. All of us are good at that game. These talks are cultivated in the grocery store, maybe in a local laundry areas, or on the front steps of the church building. Dialogues of the deaf, that is, listening. Sounds come from voice boxes. Guttural noises are shaped into words by tongues and lips. But so little is listened to. I mean, really taken in. As Samuel Butler once stated, it takes two people to say a thing, a sayer and a sayee. The one is just as essential to any true saying as the other. The best examples would be children. They express their feelings deep down in their fragile inner wells are a multitude of needs, questions, hurts, and longings. Like a tiny bucket, their tongues splash out these things. A busy, insensitive, preoccupied parent doing household chores through the day misses many a cue and sails right past choice moments never to be repeated. Or how about the person we spot without Christ? Have you ever practiced listening evangelism? There are a lot of people who needs to be listened to. Unless we are careful, we usually unload the goods and go for the scalp. But people bruise easily, sometimes irreparably. We must take care not to fold, spindle, mutilate, or assault. Sure, the gospel must ultimately be shared, but taking the time to listen patiently and respond calmly is an essential part of the process. Sometimes, one way to bring them to Christ is to listen to their hearts. When a certain CEO or a business tycoon usually begin his meetings with, "Now listen closely." And of course, the best example of a very good listener is no other than Christ. In John 4, with the woman at the well, he could have blown her away with an endless barrage of verbal artillery. He didn't. He genuinely listened when she spoke. He listened slowly. He read the lines of anxiety on her face and felt the weight of guilt in her heart. As she talked, he peered deeply into the well of her soul. It wasn't long before she found herself completely open. Yet, not once did she feel forced or needlessly embarrassed. What's the secret of Jesus Christ? He listened. He studied every word, each expression, even the tone of her voice. What does it take? Several things. Rare qualities like caring, time, unselfishness, concentration, holding the other person in high esteem, sensitivity, tolerance, patience, self-control, and perhaps, most of all, allowing room for silence while the other person is thinking and trying to get the words out. Wise is the listener who doesn't feel compelled to fill up all the blank spaces with words. In an article, Leading Effectively, active listening and giving feedback aren't always easy. Daily pressures and demands often overtake our work, leaving limited time and energy to focus on listening. So here are the 6 active listening that we need to get or to have as our key skills. This involves number 1, pay attention. One goal of active listening and being an effective listener is to set a comfortable tone that gives an opportunity to think and speak. Another one is withhold judgment. Just listen. Active listening requires an open mind. As a listener, be open to new ideas, new perspectives, and new possibilities when practicing active listening. Even when good listeners have strong views, they suspend judgment, hold any criticism, and avoid arguing or selling their point right away. Next, reflect. When you're the listener, don't assume that you understand your friend correctly or that they know you've heard them. Mirror your information and emotions by thinking of the key points. Reflecting is an active listening technique that indicates that you and your friend are on the same page. Also, learn to clarify things. Don't be shy to ask questions about any issues that's unclear when engaging in active listening. Also, restate key terms would help us to be clear and have a mutual responsibilities and follow-up. In short, by restating what the person or your friend has talked about would give us a view or understanding that you know what she is or he is talking about. Lastly, share. Active listening is first about understanding the other person, then about being understood as the listener. As you gain clearer understanding of the other person's opinions, you can begin to introduce your ideas, feelings, and suggestions. You might talk about a similar experience you had or share an idea that was triggered by a comment made previously in the conversation. As stated in Proverbs chapter 20 verse 12, the hearing ear and the seeing eye, the Lord has made both of them. Learn to listen.